Poverty is one of the major problems of modern society. In fact, there is no single generally accepted definition of poverty. The narrowest definition of poverty is based on the insufficiency of financial resources to meet the basic life needs. Poverty entails more than the lack of income and productive resources to ensure sustainable livelihoods. Its manifestations include hunger and malnutrition, limited access to education and other basic services, social discrimination and exclusion, as well as lack of participation in decision-making. From 26.6% in 2006 to 21.6% in 2015, such a decrease in numbers is also a result of the expansion of job opportunities outside the agriculture sector. The Filipino government has a goal to reduce poverty from 13 to 15% by 2022.
There are types of poverty. The first one is the situational poverty. Situational poverty is generally caused by the sudden crisis or loss and is often temporary. Events causing situational poverty include environmental disasters, divorce, and severe health problems. Another one is the generalizational poverty. It's a term applied to families who have experienced poverty for at least 2 generations. It can affect every aspect of a person's life, like physical, social, emotional, and mental. Absolute poverty is when household income is below a certain level. This makes it impossible for the person or family to meet the basic needs of life, including food, shelter, safe drinking water, education, healthcare, and etc. Rural poverty. For many years, rural dwellers suffered from low incomes and limited opportunities for gainful employment. Many are poor and uncompetitive due to the constraints brought about by insufficient production inputs, lack of farm machineries and equipment, limited access to credit, and poor access to market, among others. Urban poverty is a complex and multidimensional extending beyond the deficiency of income or consumption, where its many dimensions relate to the vulnerability of the poor on account of their inadequate access to land and housing, physical infrastructure, services, economic and livelihood sources.
Causes of global poverty. First one is the inequality and marginalizations. Inequality is an easy but sometimes misleading term used to describe the systemic barriers leaving groups of people without a voice or representations within their communities. For populations to escape poverty, all groups must be involved in the decision-making process. And the second one is the conflict. Conflict is one of the most common forms of driving poverty today. Large-scale protracted violence that we've seen in areas. Women also bear the brunt of conflict, which adds a layer inequality to all conflict. And because women often have difficulty getting well-paying work and are excluded from community decision-making, their families are particularly vulnerable. And the third one is the hunger, malnutrition, and stunting. The first 1,000 days of child's life are key to ensuring their future's health and likelihood of staying out of poverty. If a mother is malnourished during pregnancy, that can be passed on to her children. Child stunting, both physical and cognitive, can lead to a lifetime of impact. And the fourth one is the poor healthcare systems, especially for mothers and children. For some women, pregnancy and childbirth can be a death sentence. In many of the countries where concern works, access to quality maternal healthcare is poor. Pregnant and lactating mothers face a multitude of barriers when seeking care. And the fifth one is the little or no access to clean water, sanitation, and hygiene. More than 2 billion people in the world doesn't have access to clean water at home. This means that people spend some 20 million hours every day walking long distance to fetch water. The lack of education. Education is often referred to as the greater equalizers because it can open the door to jobs and other resources. Eighth one is the for public works and infrastructure isolation limits opportunities. Lack of infrastructure from road, bridge and wheels to cables for lights, cell phones and internet can isolate communities living in rural areas.
Effects of poverty in the society. Nearly all possible consequences of poverty have an impact on children's lives. Poor infrastructures, unemployment, lack of basic services, and income reflect on their lack of education. Malnutrition, violence at home and outside, child labor, disease of all kinds transmitted by the family or through the environment.
Solutions for poverty. Number 1. Educate children for their brighter futures. Number 2. Provide clean water for our good health. And the number 3. Ensure basic health care. Number 4. Empower a girl or a woman. Number 5. Improve childhood nutrition. Number 6. Support environmental program like a tree planting or cleanup drive. Number 7. Reach children in conflict. Prevent child marriage or teenage pregnancy. And that is the solutions for poverty. Thank you.